All right. Welcome to yet another section of today's 30 days of code challenge. Um, Today is day 20, and in day 20 we are going to be looking at introduction to JavaScript objects. And the first thing we are going to look at is what JavaScript objects really are. JavaScript objects are actually um, a collection of related properties, right? So, when we say collection of related property, what are we actually talking about? We are talking about how JavaScript store properties, right? How it stores key value pairs together for the purpose of their relationship, right? Just like I want to create a variable that holds value, and this value is for one person, right? And this particular person has different properties, right? This person, this person has a name, he has a height, he has age, he has class, and so many things. So the best um, data type that I can use to hold this is object because I can't use an array. Array is just a list. Unless I just want to list this person's properties, I just want to list them. I say this person is tall, this person is black, this person. So single properties of a person, but object holds the properties of related properties of a particular. Um, so now, when we say that, let's see that in action. We can say that we want to create a variable, and this variable is for students, right? Let's say student. This is student, and we are giving it a value of. Remember that I said the other time that when you want to create an object, right, giving your object a value, you precede it with a curly bracket. Sorry, you put them inside a curly bracket. So like this tells you that it's an object, right? So I can now put my properties inside of this curly bracket, and these properties are usually key and value pair. Now look at this. This is a student, and of course the student is going to have name, right? I write the key, which this name becomes the key, right? Which is the property name, right? So that's the property. This property is like I said, properties are usually key value pair, or sometimes we call it property name and property value, right? So this property name is going to be the person's name, the student's name. Let me say Benjamin, right? That's the name, and I want to Benjamin also have a height, right? It has, and I want the height to be 47, right? This is number, so I don't need to put it in string, remember. Then it has age, and the age is also a number. I will say 16, right? It's also a number. And I will say what class is he? I will say is in JSS 3. So I have successfully created an object for a student. Now you can see that object is the best way we can represent such kind of value. Array cannot do this, right? So this is where objects fit in, and there are different ways we can access each of these properties and their value. Like I said, when you want the value, you do what you get the property, right? So when you get the property in variable, I told you that when you want a value, you get the variable. So here, when you want the value, you get the property, right? Once you get the property, you get the value. So for instance, there are two ways of actually getting whatever you want from inside an object. You can use the dot notation and you can use the bracket notation. But firstly, I want to use the bracket notation to see how we can get the class of these students. So let me see, I want to console.log right? What am I logging? I'm logging students, sorry, students. I want to first of all use bracket notation. When you are using bracket notation, you have to put the property in a string when you are using bracket notation, but when you are using dot notation, you don't need that. And that is why most people prefer to use dot notation in most cases. So I have to put it in bracket and say I want to get class, right? Now when I get class, I console.log it and you see that I have JSS3 there. The same thing I can also say name. If I say name, it's going to give me the name, which is Benjamin. That is how to use bracket notation to get values from your object. Then I can also use the dot notation. Using the dot notation, I don't need to put the property name or the key in uh, in quotation. So I will just say name straight up, and it's going to give me the name. And if I want the height, it will still give me the height. So that is that about that. And there's nothing really much about JavaScript objects. There's nothing really much about it. The same way we can have different data type in our arrays, we can also have that here. We can even have a function, right? We can even have a function. Let's say I want to have a function and I want the function to be I want the property name that has the value of the function to be greeting, right? I want to say greeting, and I want to give it a function. I'm giving it a function, right? And the function is this. I want to console.log. Let's see what I want to console.log here is I want to use something different. I want to use template literal because I want to get a value from the students because I don't want to use string concatenation, right? So I will use template literal where I use the backtick. And what I'm going to do here is to say, I want to console.log hello because this is greeting, right? Hello, um, students, sorry, students dot name, right? I hope this will work because so now I want to call greetings, greeting in here like this. Now you see what we got. Oh, sorry. You see hello Benjamin, right? Now, if I did not put this, like I said in the last section, I only reference the function, and that is why you are seeing the function in my console.log. So for the function to run whatever it's having, I have to call it, and calling a function means you are going to add the parentheses to it. So, and that is how we run that. So you can see that your object can actually have you can assign different data types to your object to different object properties inside your excuse me inside your object. And so there's nothing really much about objects, and these are just the most important thing about it. And sometimes you can have an array of objects, and you can also have objects of array, right? You can nest objects inside array. Like if I have more than one student, right? I want to make a list, for instance. Let's say I want to have sorry, I want to take this off, right? I want to have an array that says students, right? I will say let students because there are many, right? Equal to square bracket, right? Because I want to have an array of different students, right? So I'll come here and create my object inside my array. That's why I said you can actually have object inside an array. And I want to say the first person there should have a name, right? And the name, like I said before, is Benjamin, and is age, comma, age is 24, and the last thing is class. Class should be what? SS3. So we have an object. Remember that this full object from the beginning to the end becomes an element of the array. So the very first element in the array is what we have. Now I want to create another element inside my array. What do? I separate them with a comma. So I'll add comma here and put this. And I want to change this to say Aminat. And Aminat is just 16 years old and she's in SS2. And I want to add another element. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I want to copy this and put it here. Now you see that we have three um, elements, three objects inside my element. Remember when we were talking about array, I told you that array can actually hold any type of data. This is array holding objects, not string like we did in when we were doing example, when we were taking an example for an array, and not just numbers, but it's holding objects, right? So that means I can actually say I want to get students, right? Students dot, sorry, student, I want to get the second student, right? Which is this two, right? And it gives me that. So how do I get the name? I will go deeper. I have been able to get the second element, right? Sorry, the last element, which is Aminat, because don't forget that indexing of an array starts from zero. So the first object is zero, the second object is one, and the third one is two. That is why you see that is the last one that is showing. So I haven't gotten the element, this very last element. I want to get the class inside it. So I have selected an object. How do I get element from an object? Sorry, values from an object. And like I said, we can use bracket notation and we can also use dot notation. So preferably I want to use dot notation to get what? To get the class. And when I get the class, you see that Aminat class as shown. And also when I change this to say I want to get the name, it's also going to give me the name Aminat. And also if I still want to use bracket notation, I will still use bracket notation and say I want to get the age, for instance. Unexpected token, what's, oh, sorry, right, I don't need to put dots because I'm using bracket notation. So and it will still give me that. And if I say I want to change it to student 0, it's going to give me the age of the first person, which is 24. And if I want the name, I will also get the name Benjamin. And if I want the name of the second person, I just change it to 1 and it gives me Aminat. So oh, okay, the both of them are actually Aminat. Let's say Daniel, right? And it's going to be Daniel in there, and this is SS1. So you can see how we can actually do so many things. So like I said, there's nothing really much about object, right? Everything about it is just how it's holding variable and how you can understand how to use, how to access the properties and how to get its value, right, for whatever use you need them for. So that will be the end of this section, and Please like, share, and comment, and I'll be seeing you in the next section. Bye.